Hello there. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm Colleen Klimczak. I'm an organizational and productivity coach and a certified professional organizer. I own Peace of Mind Professional Organizing, LLC. Since 2003, I've been helping my clients live better lives through organizing and organizational and productivity coaching. I support my clients and my community with coaching, in-person and virtual organizing, my weekly podcast called Your Organized Life with Colleen Klimczak, a free weekly virtual productivity session called Finish Line Friday, a free weekly email newsletter, and regular content on Facebook and Instagram. I also offer presentations and professional development to groups and companies. Soon I will be launching a membership circle to support my community with even more coaching and productivity content. Want to finish strong this week? Join me for Finish Line Friday every Friday morning at 9 a.m. Central for a 2-hour productivity session. Drop me an email at colleen@peaceofmindpo.com to request my Zoom room link, or follow the Zoom room link on my Instagram or Facebook pages. Welcome to Your Organized Life, episode 184. Today's working title is Tools for the Pivot. How to get back on track after every transition. It's a little wordy. I might edit that, but that's okay. That's what I'm working with today. So this is a next episode in the You Asked, Let's Talk About It series. I worked with a coaching client last week, and she's awesome. I really do love my clients. I will not get too specific because I'm always bound by confidentiality, but I think that what she has to say and the questions she asked will resonate with my readers and listeners, because they certainly did with me. And I told her that she could absolutely expect that her question might end up in future articles and episodes. So let me set it up. It's summer. She is a busy professional. She's a professional working mom who also owns her own business. She is awesome, great person, highly productive. With the kids home and the shift to summer schedules, though, the schedule has gotten more complex and she is struggling a bit. She shared that the routine that she had worked to create this spring, as she and I worked together with coaching, and she did all the work for sure, has been working well while school was in session. She had identified the different roles and responsibilities in her life. She created productivity blocks for her work days and maintenance blocks for tasks around the house and for self-care. Like I said, she is awesome. She had figured things out and done the work, which is great, but the schedule has changed. And now she has to figure it out again. Sound familiar? Yeah, me too. What she asked for specifically were tools for the pivot. Maybe rules for the pivot, as I was thinking through, or tools for pivoting. As we talked it through, though, the tools weren't for surviving and thriving this summer because, hey, they have that down and they are having fun and also getting things done. They're doing great. The tools for the pivot that she was asking for are for managing many more transition times during the day with the summer schedule and still getting work done. Again, can you relate? Yeah, I know I can. So her workload hasn't changed with the season, but she identified that she has more transitions in her day when the kids are off than she does when they're in school. So 9 months of the year, she drops them at school, she goes home, spends a few minutes on house tasks, and then proceeds with her regularly scheduled virtual workday. She picks them up from school, maybe they have evening activities, they go to bed, and then she puts in a few more work hours. Summer, though, it's all catawampus. Everyone gets up later, goes to bed later, has a variety of activities during the day, or are just home more. She wanted to look at tools for the pivot to refocus as the pivots happen moment to moment in her workday. So the pivot she was talking about is more granular than a pivot for the season. It's more like, I just dropped off my son at soccer camp. I have an hour until I need to pick him up. I can either take my computer with me and just stay and work, or I can come home and try to work from home, but I still need to be back there again in an hour. And what am I supposed to be doing in this hour anyway? Yeah, her pivot is a pivot back to productivity. And this makes sense to me. Like I said, it really resonated. And I don't think this is just a summer question or a working mom with kids home for the summer question. It's an all of us question. I've said before on episodes and articles that getting good at transitions can improve all the moments in your day. So one suggestion that I shared resonated with her, and perhaps it will resonate with you as well. Enter a lowly Post-it note. So I mentioned to my client that I had a Post-it note above my desk. I love them, of course. They're so cheery. I have dozens of colors. But I only keep a few in my line of sight. The thing about Post-it notes is if you have too many, it all just ends up as wallpaper. So I shared with the client one in particular that I made as a tool for myself for those pivot times, as my client called them. I needed an easy and consistent way to refocus every time I transitioned in my day. So on this Post-it note, which is titled Start the Work, there are 2 columns. So the left side is a list of the things I need to quickly check on as I sit down to do the work, whether I have 20 minutes or 5 hours. And then the right side is do the work. We need to remember that starting the work and checking on the things and doing the work are 3 different steps. They all need to happen, but they are different steps. The list reminds me to check on, in order, my to-do list, my journal where I jot things down when I'm out and about, not in my office, my personal email, my business email, texts that I've received, and phone calls I've received. So the good news is very often when I sit down in my office or get home from a client appointment, both transition times for me, nothing new has come up since the last check-in, and I can just get on with my planned work on my to-do list. Sometimes, however, after checking in, something new and urgent has come up. For example, a text from a client about tomorrow's appointment, or a phone call from the doctor's office, or an email that I have to respond to. And I deal with that before getting back to my planned work. The practice remains, though. It is so easy to get off track or forget what it is I intended to get done today. In the midst of all of those interruptions, all of those pivots, all of those transitions, it is easy to get off track. So I realized long ago that I could use a quick list to check in on, just check, as I transition back to productive time, to conquer distraction and set myself up to succeed, and hopefully get to doing the work a little quicker or more smoothly. The other idea is another Post-it note. So when I mentioned to this client the Post-it with the start the work and checking in process listed, I showed her my Post-it on my desk. And right next to that Post-it is another one that says homing. And I've shared that in a past episode, an article. It was called The Importance of Filling Your Cup. So on my homing list, which is things that I do when I get home, there are tasks that I need to do to take care of me. And perhaps to you, it seems crazy that I need to leave myself a note to take care of myself, but I do. And if a note helps that happen, let's have a note. I won't judge me. I hope you don't either. On the homing list are drink water, turn on music, have a snack or a meal, take a shower, change my clothes. What is the next event? Transition my bags for that next event, do my bookkeeping for the day, and then check my personal mail. That's it, right? She really liked this list too. I didn't even mean to show it to her, but it just happened. It was on the board behind my desk. And she said, water, ! Because we're all so dehydrated all the time. And that's the first thing on the list. So first I'm going to ask you, what would your list look like? 2 lists, right? So what is your start the work list and what would be your homing list? The homing Post-it note resonated with this client and also sparked an idea to try with her kids. She said her kids are of an age where getting into this process for them, teaching them the skills to walk through this for themselves is timely. And this could be a project they work on together as a family. with their own Post-it notes. Maybe their lists include for summer, drink water or pack a water bottle. Have a healthy snack or pack a healthy snack. Unload your bag from soccer or volleyball or swim or a sleepover and repack it for our next adventure. And then maybe shower or change clothes or brush your teeth or whatever other habit or skill your kids are working on, etc. Today's suggestions of creating quick lists to help us master transitions and also coming home rely on a few other productivity tools we've recently looked at, if you want to go back and listen to those recent episodes. So knowing our to-do list is ready, knowing we have consistent ways to make our plan for the day, knowing what our top 3 tasks are to accomplish this day, what are our routines, and what about self-care? The secret, of course, isn't the Post-it note. That's not the power of this practice. The secret is to have a quick mental checklist that we create with intention and then use with consistency to get us back on track after our work has been interrupted, either by a work meeting or soccer practice or a text from a family member. Regardless of the distraction, we create a reliable way to get back on track, to get things done so we can go do other things. If you struggle with being productive when your day is choppy, consider creating and using your own checklist at times to transition to help you get back on track too. And if you want to take that next step and make a quick list of self-care tasks for yourself in those transition moments to help you take care of you, or even help the people around you to make their lists too, so much the better. So please let me know how these ideas work for you this week. Support around getting things done is what productivity coaching is all about. If it's time to invest in yourself and explore coaching for organizing and productivity, I would love to hear from you. Drop me a line via email at colleen@peaceofmindpo.com or message me through my social media platform like Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you next week.